Ever feel like you're just swimming in information? You want to get up to speed on something important, fast, but it's a lot. That's kind of why we do this deep dive. We grab these big, complex topics, dig through the sources, and pull out the really key stuff for you. A bit of context, maybe a few surprising bits along the way. Today we're diving into something truly profound, the Bhagavad Gita. You probably know the basics. It's this incredible conversation that happens right on a battlefield. Lord Krishna responding to Arjuna, who's in this deep crisis, this immense suffering, and it has this really interesting structure, right? 18 chapters, but they fall into 3 distinct parts, 6 chapters each. That's right, a very neat structure. So we've been following Arjuna's journey, seeing how Krishna guides him. But what happens when, the first batch of teachings, incredibly wise, obviously still don't quite get Arjuna moving? That's what makes today's dive so interesting. We're looking at this shift, how Krishna changes his approach as we move into the second part of the Gita. Our mission today really nail down the crucial difference between that first part and the second and see why this transition offers such a, compelling new angle on this ancient wisdom.
Exactly. And to really get that shift, we need to remember where we just came from, those first 6 chapters. Lord Krishna was tackling Arjuna's problem head-on. Arjuna's completely torn up, right? Duty versus family, attachments, just immense suffering. And Krishna's solution, the main one in part 1, was self-knowledge. The idea that your true self, the Atman, isn't this temporary body or mind. It's something deeper, eternal.
Okay, so know yourself. But how? What was the method?
The method was karma yoga, which is basically the path of selfless action. You do your work, you do your duty, give it your all, but then you detach from the outcome. You let go of whether you succeed or fail personally. It's about the action itself, done selflessly.
So the focus there was really on Arjuna pulling himself up by his bootstraps. Self-effort.
Very much so. Krishna laid it out clearly. Here's the path, here's the knowledge. But you, Arjuna, have to walk it. You have to do the work. The implementation was squarely on Arjuna.
Right. Logical, clear. But it didn't instantly solve everything for Arjuna, did it? What was still holding him back?
Ah, yes. That's the crucial bit leading into part 2. 2 main things, really. First, even with the understanding, the application felt overwhelming. Like, okay, intellectually I get it, but start fighting right now. That seemed, it needed time, effort, real internalization. It wasn't just a switch you flip.
Yeah, that makes sense. Knowing isn't always doing.
Exactly. And second, even though Krishna had answered all his questions within that framework, Arjuna still seemed unconvinced. He wasn't ready. He'd run out of questions from that angle, but he wasn't moving forward. He was sort of stuck.
Still needed something more.
And there was another layer, too. Part 1 kind of implied certain, let's call them qualifications. You needed a level of mental maturity, a certain preparedness to really benefit from that path of self-knowledge.
Like prerequisites for a course.
Kind of, yeah. Like needing certain grades or attendance to graduate from a traditional university. You had to be ready for that specific path.
Okay, so Arjuna's smart. He's got the teachings, but he's stalled. Needs time, maybe more conviction, and perhaps wasn't quite meeting those prerequisites yet. What could Krishna possibly do next that's so different?
Well, this is where it gets fascinating. Krishna pivots. He introduces a solution from, as the source says, a completely different perspective. And he makes this huge promise. He says basically, okay, now I'm going to reveal complete knowledge. And when you know this, there will be nothing else left for you to know. It's a game changer of a statement.
Wow. Okay, so why the change? Is the first way wrong? Or just not working for Arjuna right now?
It's not that the first way is wrong. It's more about providing another access point. This new approach is especially helpful for people who feel, for whatever reason, that they just can't follow those specific self-effort heavy steps from part 1.
So it's like another door to the same room.
Precisely. The ultimate truth doesn't change. But how you perceive it or the path you take to get there can be different. It acknowledges different capacities, different starting points.
And you mentioned these aren't contradictions, but it sounds like a big shift. So how exactly does the focus change moving into chapters 7 to 12?
The reorientation is quite clear. In part 1, the solution was self-knowledge, the Atman. Now, in part 2, Krishna shifts to teaching about God.
Ah, okay, from self to God.
Yes, and the method shifts too, from karma yoga, that passive action,
The Bhakti Yoga, which is more about
devotion, surrender, love for God, Bhakti Yoga.
Okay, self to God, karma yoga to Bhakti Yoga, and the emphasis.
Shifts from self-effort to God's grace. It's a really significant change in emphasis, placing reliance on something beyond just one's own striving.
Got it. So what specific things does Krishna cover in this section on this new path?
He lays out a clear progression. First, just fundamental knowledge about God. What is God's nature? Then critically, why can't we perceive God easily? What are the obstacles?
Oh, wait, makes sense. Identify the problem.
Then the solution to those obstacles, surrendering to God, how that actually removes the blockages. He also talks about how rare this knowledge actually is, that there are different levels or grades of knowing God. And finally, the huge advantages, the payoff of gaining this knowledge.
You mentioned part 1 had qualifications. What about part 2, this bhakti path?
This is maybe the most striking difference. Part 2, we're told, prescribes no minimum qualifications.
None at all.
None. Think of it like an open university for spiritual knowledge. You don't need prior credits. You don't need entrance exams. If you want to gain knowledge of God through surrender.
The door is open for everyone.
Exactly. Everyone is qualified to start. Anyone can surrender to whatever degree they can manage and begin to progress. It's incredibly accessible.
That sounds amazing. But is there a catch?
There is. The sources point out that because, all and sundry are admitted, the failure rate can actually be higher on this path.
Wait, higher? If it's easier to get in, how does that work?
It's because many people say they surrender, or they think they've surrendered, but it's not complete. And because it's not complete, they don't truly come to know God.
Like going through the motions without the real commitment?
Sort of. There's this great analogy used. Imagine someone getting on a train, but they keep their heavy luggage balanced on their head the whole journey.
Right. The train is meant to carry the load, but they're still bearing the burden themselves.
Precisely. So many people might say, I surrender to God, but they're still carrying all their anxieties, their worries about family, job, money, future, clinging on to them.
They haven't actually handed the bag over to the train.
They haven't. Complete surrender means dedicating all your actions to God and accepting all results, good, bad, indifferent, as gifts, as prasad from God. It's a total shift.
That sounds incredibly difficult to truly let go like that.
It is. There's another story that illustrates this perfectly. A man falls off a cliff, manages to grab a branch halfway down. He prays desperately, God, save me, I surrender. And a voice booms, I am here, I will save you. If you have surrendered, let go of the branch.
Yeah, it does he.
Most versions imply he hesitates. He can't quite bring himself to let go of that one thing he's clinging to for safety.
Wow. Leave the branch. That really captures it, that fear of truly letting go.
It does, and the teaching suggests that this kind of complete surrender, the kind needed to truly know God, really only comes when you have complete knowledge on God.
Which leads to that vicious circle you mentioned.
Exactly. It's hard to fully love and surrender to God if you don't really know Him, but it's also hard to truly know Him without that love and surrender. How do you love someone you know nothing about?
It does feel like a catch-22. Love requires knowledge. Knowledge requires love. How do you even start?
The way presented is, you just start where you are. You love God and surrender to the extent that you can right now, even if it's small, even if it's imperfect, because there's no minimum limit fixed. Everyone can do something. That initial act of surrender, however partial, starts to break the circle. It opens you up to receive more knowledge.
Okay, so start small. Be genuine in what you can offer. And the goal of all this knowledge...
The sources are emphatic. Man's quest for knowledge will not stop until he knows God. That's the ultimate endpoint of our intellectual seeking.
And the result of knowing God.
Absolute happiness follows. This is what's called Teaching 81. It's not just emotional comfort, it's that the intellectual comprehension of God brings the highest grade of happiness.
Why? How does knowing God equate to knowing everything or absolute happiness?
The analogy given is gold. If you truly understand the nature of gold, its essence, its properties, then you understand everything fundamental about any ornament made from gold, right? A ring, a necklace. The form changes, but the essence is understood.
Okay. Well.
Similarly, God is presented as the ultimate reality, the root cause of the creation. So if you understand the cause, you understand the entire effect, the whole universe in its essence. Knowing God is knowing everything that matters.
That's a powerful idea. And this focus on knowing God, does it connect back to karma yoga from part 1? You mentioned karma yoga can be tough if your belief in God isn't solid.
It connects directly. Part 1's karma yoga asks you to dedicate actions to God and accept results from God. But if your belief is shaky, or if you don't believe at all, that's a huge stumbling block.
Right. How do you surrender results to a God you're not sure about?
Exactly. Part 2 effectively removes that disadvantage by aiming to give you complete knowledge of God. It shores up the foundation that karma yoga relies upon.
So part 1 was about steadying the mind on God.
While Part 2 engages the intellect to gain comprehensive, doubtless knowledge about God, It's a progression.
And this knowledge isn't just abstract theory.
No, Krishna promises knowledge and experience. They go together. The teaching is, if you haven't experienced God's, seen God, touched God, in whatever way that manifests, it means that your understanding, your knowledge isn't complete yet. The full knowledge brings the experience.
Which might explain why, as Teaching 82 states, very few people in the world know God. It's clearly a profound and challenging path, even if the door is open.
Indeed. It highlights the rarity and depth of what Krishna is offering here.
So how does Krishna actually kick off this profound teaching in Chapter 7? What are the opening lines?
He begins with verse 7.1, saying directly to Arjuna, "Now hear how by practicing yoga with a mind that is totally absorbed in me, you will come to know me completely and doubtlessly." Very direct.
No ambiguity there.
Know me.
Completely. Doubtlessly.
Then in 7.2, the promise, "I shall now impart to you this knowledge, which will satisfy your mind and intellect, by knowing which there shall remain nothing further to be known." The ultimate knowledge quest fulfilled.
Satisfying mind and intellect. That covers all bases.
And then verse 7.3 drives home the rarity. Out of many thousands among men, a rare one strives for liberation. Even among those seekers who strive, a rare one knows me in right perspective.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Sets the stage powerfully. Few strive, even fewer truly know.
Precisely. It frames what's about to unfold as something incredibly precious and transformative.
So wrapping this up for today, we've seen these two distinct approaches laid out in the first two major sections of the Gita, Part 1, Chapters 1 to 6. The path of self-effort, focusing on knowing the self, the Atman, primarily through karma yoga, requires a certain readiness.
Right. And then Part 2, Chapters 7 to 12, where Krishna shifts gears. The path of surrender, focusing on knowing God through Bhakti Yoga with an emphasis on grace. In this path, open access, no prerequisites.
Understanding this shift, this offering of two different perspectives, really does give you a much richer picture of the Gita's wisdom, doesn't it? It's not just one size fits all.
Absolutely. It shows a profound understanding of different human needs and capacities on the path to realization. Recognizing both approaches deepens the appreciation of the whole.
And here's something to chew on until next time. These paths seem so different. Self-effort versus grace. Knowing the self versus knowing God. But the Gita insists they aren't contradictory.
That's the real kicker, isn't it?
Yeah. Apparently, Lord Krishna, in the final part, chapters 13 to 18, is going to explain how these two are actually identical. Two sides of the same coin.
Bringing it all together.
So the thought to leave you with is, how? How can these seemingly opposite approaches, intense self-reliance versus complete surrender, ultimately lead to the very same place? That's part of the enduring brilliance we'll keep exploring